How's it going? I'm currently traveling in beautiful Vancouver and I'm feeling extra chatty today. So I thought I'd come on board and share with you why I said no to a 500K offer as a product lead at TikTok. It was not an easy decision at all a couple of months ago, and I feel pretty confident right now that I absolutely made the right one. So I thought I'd come and talk about it, whether you're also deciding between offers or you're just curious about life in tech in general. Yeah, hope you'll have fun sitting down and chat with me. I know you're probably curious about the numbers, so I'll spill the beans and I'll talk about that first because I'm all for pay transparency. So the numbers are not exact because I absolutely do not want to cross the line when it comes to legal. And I know my channel is also small at the moment, so hopefully the guys won't be coming after me. So if we break down the offer, it has a couple parts, right? The first one is base. It was around 325K per year. And I intentionally asked for a what they call cash heavy offer, meaning I got less RSUs. My RSUs was around 75K per year. Aside from those two, TikTok also offered a sign-on bonus as well as a year-end bonus. The sign-on bonus for me was around 50K, and the year-end bonus, they actually offer 25%. And if you add everything that I just talked about and consider the sign-on bonus to be divided into 2 years, the number will come close to around 500K per year. Okay, so with that out of the way, and if you're still here, we'll get into the second part, which is why I say no to this offer. Now, this is a great offer. Like, I was actually shocked when they presented the offer to me, especially if you consider the job market at the time earlier this year, where all the major companies were doing layoffs. Most of the companies were like impossible to get an offer at, or if they offer you a role, they might downgrade you, or even if they're matching your current level, they might be adjusting the pay band. Anyway, this year is without a doubt the worst time to be looking for jobs in tech, or in a lot of industries, I will say. And before I share why I decided to ultimately say no to this offer, I also want to mention the other part about the offer that really made it hard for me to say no to, which was the hiring team. For context, I've been around the Valley working as a senior PM for a number of years. I really care about who I'll be working with. Even though I've heard enough like crazy things about working at TikTok, I really wanted to find out for myself. I went as far as paying a visit to their San Jose campus, trying to get a conversation with the HR partner, hiring manager, skip level, engineering manager, designer, you name it, right? I really did my research. And despite the horrendous things that you might see online, I actually felt like I lucked out because I was really impressed by the team that I was going to join, which, as you can imagine, made the decision even harder. So yeah, why did I say no, right? Before I kind of share like my framework, if you will, I will admit, like, whenever I get an offer, I just go crazy, right? I would go and talk to as many people as I can and get their point of view, because that stuff is just really hard. But if you really take a step back, there are 3 things that are really important about an opportunity. First one is money. I don't know about you, but I work for money. The second piece is opportunity. If the money or whatever goodness that you're having is short-lived and it doesn't have the opportunity to grow, then I would argue it's not that attractive in an offer. And the third piece is a little, I guess, wishy-washy, but it's about how happy you are, not about the offer, but imagine you're actually working at the company. Do you see yourself happy at the role, right? So this framework of money, opportunity, and happiness really gave me clarity that this 500K offer, despite how attractive it is on paper, was not going to be the choice for me. Okay, let's talk money. You might be curious, what the hell are you talking about? If you care about money, you should have signed with TikTok already, right? I'll ask you to hold that thought for a little bit. TikTok offered 500K, and I know most of the comparable companies were probably offering around 400K at the time. On paper, that 100K per year is huge, right? But if you work in tech, and unless you've been hiding under a rock, you've seen plenty of videos and blind posts, etc., you probably know that TikTok expect horrendously long working hours, and a little simple math will reveal itself that you're actually not getting paid a lot more than you believe. What do I mean by that, right? Say on average you work 10 hours versus 8 hours at a normal tech company, you're working 25% more and making 25% more. So I would argue it's really not that great of a deal. Now, I can imagine there are going to be people who say, hey, I like to work more and get paid more. That's how I roll. Look, I got you. I was operating under the same model for a number of years, especially when I was earlier in my career, where getting ahead of everyone, getting promoted faster was all I care about. It was my everything to like get ahead. But now, you know, after working for a couple of years, I am definitely more comfortable in life, that I don't feel the need to sell out myself to corporate. Look, I am still selling out by working, but at least I have a choice. And that's where the second piece, it was a real deal breaker for me, is being required to work. So I've heard, even though where they say you'll be predominantly working with the US team, it's not at all uncommon that you're required to work across time zones at night, and that's not compensated by fewer hours during the day. I want to be able to like put in the extra hours if I want, if I care about it, but I don't know how I feel about being always on during the evenings as long as I am working at a company like TikTok. Actually, I do know. I know I would not like it, and that is the whole reason why it is not for me. The second piece is opportunity. I mentioned I have a lot of friends who work at TikTok. One of the funny things that they say to me really got me into thinking. Here's how the conversation usually comes down. They'll talk about the pros and cons of like working at TikTok, but a lot of the times they end with a statement like this: if you don't like it here and you leave TikTok under 1 year, you'll be fine. Most of the people would totally understand and not blame it on you because it's TikTok. When I heard it from like a couple of folks, I was like, oh yeah, you are right? Like, I guess the opportunity cost of making a mistake of joining TikTok isn't that expensive after all, right? I can always try it out and it will not reflect badly on my resume. But after hearing it for so many times, it really got me into taking a step back and think about, is this opportunity at TikTok really worth it, right? Here's what I think. I've worked at a few companies and I've hopped around. If there's one thing that I do know from working at different companies in tech, is that it pays off to stick around for more than 1 year at a company. Why do I say that, right? This is by no means a golden rule. If this company is not working out for you, please leave under 1 year, no questions asked. But there's just so much value that you can't really achieve in a very short amount of time. I personally find it a lot easier to do my job well in year 2 because I have the connection, I have the trust, I have the relationships built, I have the reputation around me built within the group that I work with. Anyway, I value that. I was looking for a place where I can spend a couple years at, and the idea of going to a company and already see myself not being able to hit 1 year is just not attractive to me. Okay, so we talked about the money, we talked about the opportunity. The last piece is happiness. Now this one is highly subjective, but for me, with TikTok in the news, especially at the time being banned, and I kind of observed the pattern of this talk coming back every couple months, year or so, I just didn't like the idea of being at a company that is less stable. I know like there are no companies that are stable right now, but having been laid off and seeing how badly as an individual you can be impacted by things larger than you, I just really valued being at a stable place. I have been in the boat of being required to look for a job all of a sudden, and trust me, it was very painful. I definitely didn't want to be in that position once again. I see TikTok as a company that is going to be more subjective to turbulence and other issues that might be going on and are outside of our control. To me, that's just not worth it. Okay, unless you can tell, it's getting kind of dark. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and I'll show you the view. I'm gonna head out very soon for dinner. As always, I would love for you to support me in whichever way you want. I would genuinely love to hear difficult decisions that you've made in your career that you're proud of, that might be controversial, but you're really happy about. And before I go, I just wanted to share this crazy thing. I'm actually staying in Vancouver for free because one of the viewers offered her apartment. I am feeling so thankful for the little community that we were able to build so far, and Yeah. It's bringing you memories of when I first got online, where you can trust people from online. Obviously be careful, but I just wanted to share this little story from me, and I'll see you next time.